Tonight, on WTOP-10 Nightly News, Tuck Everlasting is coming to SUNY Oswego, how it's exploring polarized themes.
And a new candidate is potentially joining the race for New York governor, how she's preparing for the 2026 race.
Plus, a Rochester toy store reacts to the latest Trump tariffs.
WTOP-10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Haley Kaiser.
And I'm Joe Seidman.
Tuck Everlasting is coming to SUNY Oswego. The play follows the immortal Tuck family as they question the benefits and drawbacks of immortality. The director, Jonal Langenfeld-Real, says the story takes a deeper look into how we live and encourages the audience to listen even when you disagree. She thinks this lesson is important when thinking of the polarized political climate we are in today.
Students took ownership of the show and created costumes and choreography to transport the audience into the circus-inspired set. The play is set to open on April 23rd at 7:30 p.m. in Waterman Theater. Tickets are free for SUNY Oswego students and can be purchased at tickets.oswego.edu.
Earlier today, SUNY Oswego hosted the first of 3 special events titled What's Going On? At the event, discussions were held surrounding making sense of a rapidly changing political landscape and were facilitated by Political Science Department Chair Allison Rank. The other 2 conversations will happen on April 21st and April 28th. Light snacks will be served and attendance is free for faculty and students.
Tyler Art Gallery is displaying the first of 2 BFA exhibitions to honor graduating seniors of the Bachelor of Fine Arts programs. The exhibit shows the hard work of 4 years across students in studio art, graphic design, interaction design, and illustration. If you are interested in what the art students have been crafting, stop by Tyler Hall for a visit. The exhibition will be available to walk through for free until April 27th.
Now in Oswego County news, Indivisible Oswego County is rallying again this weekend after their meeting last Saturday. The meeting was to gather public support on defending American democracy. IOC has said that they are asking for the public to gather again for a walk. They are meeting on the corner of West 1st Street at 10 a.m. on Saturday to walk, rain or shine. They are welcoming all people interested to join the positive energy they intend to bring. Joe, I feel like every time we anchor together, there's always something with the weather to complain about. Lake Ontario needs to straighten itself out.
I fully agree, Haley. I'm sick of all the snow we're getting. With more on the unpleasant precipitation, let's toss it over to WTOP-10 meteorologist George Kirk.
Thank you so much. I'm your Storm Team 10 meteorologist George Kirk, and I'm here with today's weather headlines. First up, we've got the possibility of the Aurora Borealis tonight, what your chances are of actually being able to see it. Next up, we've got some more pleasant weather tomorrow. And we're going to talk about how the temperatures are still fluctuating up and down and when the warmer temperatures are going to be here. And finally, we're going to talk about what times are going to be best to leave for the Easter holiday. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, George. An upstate New York farmer is feeling the pain of increased costs of business following President Trump's changes in tax policy. Nicholas Gilbert is a dairy farmer and had to spend an extra $2,000 in tariffs to feed his livestock. He imports his feed for the cows from Canada, and he believed that the supplier in Canada would be responsible for this cost. The tariffs are not just leaving farmers on edge, but other small businesses across New York State.
Christian Garzone spoke to some local collectible shops about how these uncertain times are affecting them.
Chet Renato operates Rhino's Comics on Dewey Ave in Greece. With his toy stock, he says he wants to stay cutting edge for his customers.
If you're not current, you're waning and you're not on top of your game, because if somebody else will get your business then.
And that means getting many of these products which are made in China. Any new orders may or may not contain costs passed on from tariffs. It all depends on when he orders and if tariffs will still be a thing.
Tomorrow everything might blow up again. I don't know. So we have to take each day as it comes, approach it correctly, and move on to the next day.
Raising costs is something he does not want to do to his loyal base. And it's not kids, really. It's a demographic that could choose to cut back.
It's us. It's, you know, the average 40-year-old man, 50-year-old man.
Mike Bulch at Bartertown Collectibles in Webster says some toy stores and collectors are on edge. Notices from toy companies are already going out.
That, you know, some of this stuff is going to be okay for right now, but we are letting you know that there's probably going to be added charges.
While Bulch deals primarily with nostalgic toys from yesteryear, the toy market, tariffs, and uncertainty are still very much topics.
Well, that's just it. I mean, we don't know. Every day it's something different, you know, so it's either on or it's off, or it's this or it's that.
Renato says in the end, regardless of what happens with tariffs or the market, it's simple. Collectors will come through. Here's why.
Collectors are going to be collectors. They're going to buy it regardless of the price because they're going to want it. That's all there is to it. You know, it's beautiful. People love their stuff.
All right, as members.
Considering that a lot of the plastic is imported from China, there isn't an end in sight for the increasing tariffs effects on this local toy shop.
A new candidate is potentially joining the race for New York governor in 2026. Republican conservative Elise Stefanik is considering a run for Hochul's seat in the upcoming gubernatorial election. Stefanik is a well-known figure across U.S. politics, having been the youngest woman ever elected to the House of Representatives in 2014. Just a few weeks ago, Stefanik's nomination to be the American ambassador to the UN was withdrawn by President Trump.
Still ahead tonight, an investigation continues into last week's helicopter crash in the Hudson River. What you need to know.
Plus, a Maryland senator visits El Salvador to fight for a man's return to the United States.
And it could be your last chance to see one occur for 2 decades, as the next time one will be visible over the continental U.S.
He's May 84. Yarrow told police in the hospital that he had pressed the doorbell and waited.
They mix with oxygen and nitrogen. They become briefly
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow.
Wow.
Get a close up of that one. Matthew,
Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back to WTOP. I'm your Storm Team 10 meteorologist, George Kirk, and what I've got behind me is the radar for the Oswego area. You can see that there's a little bit of rain in the area, but not much to speak of, so we're not really worried about rain tonight. Tonight, we've got some light rain showers at a temperature of 37 degrees, breezy winds westward at 15 to 20 miles per hour. So about the aurora, you got not that great of a chance to see it because you got some cloudy skies tonight, but your best chance to see it if you really want to wake up early is around 3 in the morning. So tomorrow is going to be around 46 degrees. I recommend wearing a nice sweater to stay warm, plus a little hat and sunglasses because it is going to be sunny. I've got a bit of futurecast. You can see that it's pretty clear tomorrow, but as you wake up Friday morning, you can see some rain on the horizon, and as that moves its way through around mid-afternoon. And for Easter weekend, Friday and Saturday are looking not so great for travel, but the best time to leave would probably be Friday afternoon during the break in the rain. Now for our extended forecast, Thursday and Friday. Saturday is going to be pretty rainy weekend. And on Monday, there's going to be a chance of showers, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that because there's a chance that that might transition into some thunderstorms. It's going to be pretty nice weather through the rest of the week. Now, back to the desk.
Thanks. The Federal Aviation Administration says the helicopter tour company whose helicopter crashed into the Hudson River Thursday must stop operations immediately. The decision comes after an employee at the New York Helicopter Company who voluntarily agreed to stop flights was fired. The crash killed 6 people, including the pilot and a family visiting from Spain. An investigation into the crash is ongoing, and the wreckage and maintenance records are being examined. The federal judge overseeing the case of a man mistakenly deported to El Salvador says she will allow for expedited fact-finding to help her determine if the Trump administration is complying with her order that it facilitate his return back to the U.S.
In court hearings so far, the judge has expressed growing frustration at the responses, or lack thereof, coming from Department of Justice lawyers, as Laura Aguirre explains. One of the man's senators isn't waiting that long, and he boarded a plane to El Salvador from D.C. this morning.
This is an unsustainable and unjust moment.
Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen in El Salvador today, hoping to get eyes on Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man whose deportation has set off a legal and constitutional rights firestorm. His request to the country's vice president went unfulfilled.
He said he was not able to make that happen.
The senator was also denied a phone call with Abrego Garcia, whose deportation case escalated to the Supreme Court last week, when all 9 justices voted unanimously to uphold a lower federal judge's ruling that the Trump administration work for Abrego Garcia's return and access to due process.
The Supreme Court was clear. They must facilitate his release.
It's the use of that word facilitate in the federal judge's ruling upheld by the Supreme Court at the center of the Trump administration's argument to leave Abrego Garcia where he is, suggesting that facilitate means the U.S. won't block his entry if El Salvador decides to release him.
President Bukele said he was not sending him back. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back.
U.S. officials allege that Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang. Abrego Garcia's attorneys dispute that claim. While the judicial fight plays out in the U.S., Senator Van Hollen says his trip today is only the beginning.
I may be the first United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more, and there will be more members of Congress coming.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
President Donald Trump posting on Truth Social today that it's his job to remove, quote, killers and thugs from the country, suggesting on Fox News that he could one day include U.S. citizens.
Saying on Fox News this week that he's looking into the legality of deporting what he calls, quote, homegrown criminals. Puerto Rico is experiencing another island-wide power outage, just months after a days-long blackout on New Year's Eve. Luma Energy said the interruption to its service began at about 12:40 p.m. local time on Wednesday, leaving millions without power. Dozens of people were forced to walk next to the rails of San Juan's transit system, and at least 78,000 are without water. The cause of the outage is still being investigated, and power likely won't be fully restored for another 48 to 72 hours.
When WTOP-10 Nightly News continues, a new device may help to provide relief to individuals experiencing migraines.
And new COVID-19 recommendations from the CDC. Find out how often you really need to be vaccinated.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like,
No.
what do you mean no?
It's 10:30. Matt, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man. Whoa. You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow. Get a close up of that one. Matthew,
Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
We'll deep dive into our feelings in our Real Talk segment. Stay tuned because it's about to get real.
Welcome back to WTOP-10 Nightly News.
In consumer news, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is considering changing its recommendations for who should get an annual COVID vaccination. It currently has a blanket recommendation that everyone 6 months of age and older get annual shots. It's considering switching to a more nuanced, risk-based recommendation. This system would recommend those over age 65 and anyone with compromised immune function get annual shots. A panel of independent experts that advises the CDC on its vaccine recommendations is weighing the pros and cons of changing to risk-based recommendations. They're scheduled to vote on it in June.
Getting a shingles vaccine could help reduce your risk for dementia. That's according to a study recently published in the journal Nature. Researchers followed 280,000 people between the ages of 71 and 88. They did not have dementia at the onset. The participants were tracked for 7 years. Researchers found those who received the shingles vaccine were 20% less likely to be diagnosed with dementia.
An estimated 39 million people in the U.S. get migraines. According to the American Migraine Foundation, it's a neurological disease with no cure. And while there are several treatment options, they don't work for everyone.
In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has a look at new technology being studied that may help migraine sufferers find relief in the future.
Significantly impact a person's life. Some migraine sufferers may find relief in medications or lifestyle changes, but not all of them.
There's still a number of individuals that get inadequate relief.
Cleveland Clinic neurologist Dr. Mary Ann Mays is medical advisor to My Helper, a company that's designed an investigational drug-free device not currently FDA approved. She's lead author of a study researching the device that was presented last week at the American Academy of Neurology annual meeting. The technology uses dry or dehumidified room temperature air to cool the nasal passage, which Mays says helps stop the activation of the part of the brain that's turned on during a migraine. 128 adult study participants who reported having multiple migraine attacks used the self-administered device at home to treat a single attack. 44 others used a sham device.
47% of individuals in the study reported complete pain freedom at 2 hours compared to only 16% in the sham group. So that was quite clinically significant and exciting to see.
Mays says of those studied who were pain-free after 2 hours, 41% remained that way for 24 hours and didn't need additional rescue medications.
Our hope is that the study will be concluded by November 2025, that we'll have some of the data, and that the company can submit for approval of the device in 2026.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mays says none of the study participants stopped the treatment due to discomfort. She says side effects include runny nose and some nasal irritation.
Coming up after the break, we've got the latest on Lakers sports with Hunter Raymanak.
Hunter, could we get a quick preview?
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, I'll recap some Los Angeles State women's lacrosse and softball. Also, the NBA play-in tournament has begun. This and more after the break.
La, 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 la.
Breathe.
La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Freeze.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
We'll deep dive into our feelings in our Real Talk segment. Stay tuned because it's about to get real.
And it could be your last chance to see one occur for 2 decades, as the next time one will be visible over the continental U.S.
He's May 84. Yarrow told police in the hospital that he had pressed the doorbell and waited.
They mix with oxygen and nitrogen. They become briefly
Welcome back to WTOP-10 Nightly News. I'm Hunter Raymanak with your sports report for tonight. Oswego State women's lacrosse faced off against the Potsdam Bears in a highly contested matchup last night. Despite Potsdam's struggles this season, they kept the Lakers on their toes early, scoring 4 goals in the first quarter. Oswego State would take a 4-goal lead into the half, highlighted by 3 straight goals from sophomore Cassidy Croce. With the Lakers up 11-6 entering the fourth, the Bears would not go down quietly, scoring 6 goals as part of a sudden offensive outburst. But thanks to key goals by the Lakers, they avoid a late-game collapse and claw out the win against the Bears 13-12. Potsdam remains winless in SUNYAC play, while Oswego State continues their dominance in the conference with a 7-0 record this year. From the turf to the diamond, the Lakers faced off against the Oneonta Red Dragons at home yesterday in a softball doubleheader. Game 1 was a pitcher's duel with Oswego State freshman Gabriela Milazzo going 7 innings and allowing 2 runs, but Oneonta's Tanner Smith was even better, pitching 7 innings of 1-run ball with 5 strikeouts. Red Dragons win 2-1. Game 2, on the other hand, had much more offense, with the Lakers entering the 6th inning up 4-3. The Red Dragons exploded for 10 runs in the last 2 innings of the game, highlighted by catcher Julia Serena's 5 RBIs. Oneonta wins 13-6 as they sweep the doubleheader from Oswego State. Moving into the NBA, the play-in tournament got underway last night with 2 games that would decide the 7th seed in the playoffs for both conferences. Starting in the East, the Orlando Magic and Atlanta Hawks faced off in the Sunshine State. The Magic benefited from a hot start and a strong finish to win 120-95, highlighted by point guard Cole Anthony's 26 points off the bench. Orlando will face the Boston Celtics in the first round, while Atlanta will go up against the winner of the Chicago Bulls and Miami play-in matchup to decide the 8th seed in the East. Meanwhile, in the West, the Golden State Warriors took on the Memphis Grizzlies in San Fran. This game was close throughout, but it would be the Warriors that would prevail in the end, winning 121-116. Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry led the way with a combined 75-point, 10 assists, and 15-rebound barrage. Golden State will match up against the Houston Rockets in the first round, while Memphis will battle out either the Sacramento Kings or Dallas Mavericks for the 8th seed in the West. And now let's switch over to MLB as we go north of the border. Toronto Blue Jays against the Atlanta Braves. Chris Bassett on the mound for the Blue Jays. He's going to get the strikeout here in the top of the first from Michael Harris on the high cutter here. Next batter up is Austin Riley. He's going to slow him down with a slow sweeper there at 73 miles per hour. Next batter here is Matt Olson, and he is going to go down swinging on the inside cutter as Chris Bassett strikes out the side to start the game. Bottom of the third, runner on second for the Blue Jays as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. rips it up the middle for a base hit. Bo Bichette will come in to score as the Blue Jays score first here in this game as their franchise guy, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., gets it started here against the Atlanta Braves pitcher, Spencer Strider. We're going to fast forward to the bottom of the sixth here. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who hasn't had a home run yet, funny enough. Well, he's going to end it right here with an absolute bomb into the second deck, top shelf. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., his first home run of the season, hitting him as far as his dad did back when he was playing. As Vladimir Guerrero Jr., fresh off that 14-year extension, Blue Jays are happy to have him for the rest of his career as the Blue Jays are up now 2-0. Bottom of the seventh, runner on second for Toronto. Bo Bichette going to hit one down the left field line for an RBI double. Miles Straw is going to jog in to score as Bo Bichette gets the run batted in, and the Blue Jays are now up 3-0. Top nine, Jeff Hoffman on the mound. Drake Baldwin going Oppo Taco the other way for not only his first homer of the season, but his first Major League home run. The Braves are finally on the board. Will that be enough to make a comeback for them? Sadly for Atlanta, not the case. Blue Jays are going to hang on to win this one 3-1 and take 2 out of 3 in the series against the Braves.
Hunter, thank you. And stick around for
more after the break.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow. Get a close up of that one. Matthew.
Broadcast news.
Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
We'll deep dive into our feelings in our Real Talk segment. Stay tuned because it's about to get real.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back to Major Discussions.
that's our report for tonight.
Be sure to stay tuned for Shut the Heck Up.
Thank you for watching.
Have a great night, everyone.